KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning. Happy Friday. God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First, and my very first thing every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and let's go. Okay, so on Friday, every Friday is a Freedman Friday, because we are focused on reparations 365 days a year, of course, but always the second hour on Fridays, we do a focus on that topic and get up to date. Learn how to be part of the solution, learn how to be tapped in. Today we'll be talking with LA County Equity Chief, D'Artagnan Scorza. That should be quite a fascinating convo for hour 2. Hour 3, we have a grab bag on Fridays, and today the phone lines are open. There's space and time. Let's talk about it. Many things to touch on. I want to make sure we get our courage pledge in, our pledge to be courageous and spread it around. And also, just have some positivity in our lives. I'm excited because next week we're going to have a big, giant dose of arts and culture, some great, great guests on deck for you next week, including Keon Harold. If you haven't heard him, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, take the opportunity. He'll be here Tuesday. A lot of great music and art will be in the house next week, so we can get a nice refill of inspiration and things that aren't Trump, other things that aren't Trump. It's every other Friday, so I'm joined by KBLA contributor and the founder of ES Advisors. They do campaigns, they do public policies, and he's also a former Fox Soul contributor. We both are, actually. Ed Sanders, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm blessed. It's Friday. Yeah, how you doing?
Man, ready for the weekend. Glad it's starting to warm up around here.
Well, that's an understatement. I mean, they're saying we're breaking all these records, heat waves. You got little ones that play sports. How you guys doing? Are you hydrated? Is everybody whiny and complaining, or they're loving it?
They're loving it. I hope. I love it.
That's
but
good.
It's that part of the year where you get outside, so it's fun.
Yeah, that's true. I also know people can be rather grouchy. I've seen quite a few studies actually showing how humans fight more when it's grouchy. So I think, to everyone, we've got this, heavy Virgo Mars energy and heat. So just be cool. Stay hydrated. Don't pop off.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We well, it always seemed to happen with the young folks. Well, the heat always coincided with like being out of school and that sort of stuff. So
that's true.
I remember those years we put together stuff in the schools or in the parks, the Summer of Success, and now Summer Night Lights to keep people safe during the summertime. So.
Yeah. I saw this crazy article. Well, I don't want to go off down on a tangent because I didn't tell you about this, but where they now have Summer Night Lights in Philly, but they've turned it into a whole cop event where it's just like Dare the Camp. And they're giving some guy that I never heard of credit for creating it. It's so crazy because that started in LA with Summer of Success. You worked on it and I worked. Both of us actually worked on the original model that created Summer Night Lights. So we know that's not the truth. And that also isn't what it was meant to be.
Right, exactly. We should have copyrighted the name back then.
Yeah, or even if it wasn't to copyright the name, somebody should have got the concept right. I mean, it feels like it's being co-opted now into this sort of police propaganda, community relations thing. And Summer Night Lights, which comes from Summer of Success, of course, the brainchild of Karen Bass. At the time, she was leader of Community Coalition. Then council member Martin Ludlow, who had created an ad hoc public safety committee. You were working with him. I was working with her. It was to save lives. That was the point. It wasn't a publicity stunt. It wasn't community police relations. It wasn't DARE. It was to have something for people to do while violence is actually existing, which the data show us is between 8 o'clock at night and like 3 in the morning or something. And so it saddened me to see, now it's like from 6 to 9. But when then Councilmember Ledlow started it, one of the key things is you meet people where they are and you try to prevent violence when the violence is happening, not when it's not happening.
Yeah, you're capturing it exactly, which is that that program was not a press, was not a press event.
No.
And to your point about sort of the intention behind it, there was probably a few stories written about it, but it wasn't like sort of a big press push on it. It really was about, let's take this very specific area in the district, Baldwin Village, that the 2 summers prior had erupted in gun violence and death, and find a way to calm it down. And, we did that. And it's, it's part of public policy. It's the part of public policy and it's the part of government service that I've always liked is you see a problem, design a solution for it, implement it. And when it works, I hope, people don't, have to jump up in the press and applaud it. But you just do the work and you hope that it matters to people. And I know that a good majority of the elected officials that we put in office do that. And
Really?
In some ways, yeah, but in some ways, we do need a stronger press presence, right? So that people understand what they're doing more often than not.
Yeah.
Stations like this give platforms to African American elected officials. The LA Times and others generally are critiquing or criticizing or poking holes in some of the work they're doing. And that's one of the important parts about like KBLA, for its ability to allow our elected officials to talk about what they're doing.
Yeah, directly. Well, a lot to unpack there. I just wanted to run that by you because I know me and you put in work on that thing. We were up nights and nights and yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I slept that entire summer.
Right. Yeah, and we did that for 2 summers. And the thing about it, we did bring homicides down to 0, and we in region, and we did launch something that was important for this region. So, yeah, and it's still the homicide numbers are still down. And I should have mentioned Mayor Villaraigosa, who was mayor at the time, and who was very, very instrumental in making that happen. So Eric Menendez not getting out of jail. The California Parole Board said no. I guess his brother Lyle will find out whether or not he gets out today. But given the recommendations of the district attorney and the climate that we're in around crime, I kind of doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, if I was the betting man, I wouldn't bet that Lyle gets out either. I've been surprised at just the public fascination with this story. The Menendez. When was that they
the killing occurred August 20th, 1989, according to the LA Times.
Yeah, that was so long ago.
It was really long ago. Well, but then remember there was a Netflix documentary that just came out. Not a documentary. It's actually a fiction. It was a narrative film about the Menendez brothers, and it called Monster, and I think Monsters or something like that. Anyway, it was popular, so that's part of why there's this renewed fascination with them.
Yeah, I guess that's right. I mean, in the end game, you can paint a picture. I just remember the original, the original stories on it, and I did not see the documentary. And I kind of get it, but it's just, to me, it's not the biggest news story in the world. There's so much going on.
Well, they're rich people, and we rarely see inside the lives of these Beverly Hills folks and their pathologies. But yeah, I think it is a little overblown. I think there's also.
right? Like they make an excuse for, like, to your point about the rich, the positions being presented. I could look for 1,000 cases where someone has been troubled traumatically, either on the mental side or physical side, and they don't have the resources. And it's not an issue. They still are guilty. The justice system turns on them. So in some sense, I don't want to see them getting out using excuses that are denied to everyone else.
It's also true, though, that we're in a different era now. And the way that case would have been seen today would be different. If they have, which it appears they do, have credible, evidence that they were being sexually abused by the father, they would have been seen more as victims and not just as much as perps back then, I think. Because we have more emphasis on rooting out sexual predators.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that. Except that killing is murder.
Right,
and,
you don't get to murder people.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, although we have seen cases where, women were being raped and brutalized by their husbands, and then they kill the husband, and they go to jail, but it's much more lenient than just a murder. It's murder in the context of that person being chronically abused.
Yeah, like a manslaughter. No, and the work that we've done in the prisons, particularly the women's prisons, particularly women's death row, that seemed to be the majority of the cases, right? Like that, the very scenario described, an abusive male partner, whether husband, boyfriend, whatever, and they snap in the violence and they react. And that's my point, is that we could go to death row and look at the women on death row, and the trauma that they experienced did not save them from prison. And,
yeah, there's also the point that this was very premeditated. I think that's part of they didn't snap. They methodically found the right weapons. They tried to set it up and make it look like a mob hit. I mean, it was a lot more to it than just snapping. Yeah. Yeah, well, we do got a lot to talk about. We can, when we come forward, Tory Lanez is appealing. We've got, oh my goodness, Donald Trump gets off again. The Teflon Don wins again. And we have to touch on this. In fact, I think this is our next topic, Ed, the redistricting, because last time you and I were disagreeing about this. You thought, we shouldn't go down to their level. Looks like we're down there now. The governor has signed a redistricting plan to counteract Texas. We'll get your thoughts on that and break it down when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-550-9651.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You gotta dip your chicken strips. Hey, this is Kiani.
And this is Tabitha.
And a little thing we love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips
is all the different sauces we can dip them in. I like to line up all my favorite sauces so that in every bite, I have a different flavor. Then with the tenderness of the chicken, the juiciness of it, it's all there.
And for me, I like to mix my sauces so I get a little tang and I get a little sweetness all in one bite.
That's what makes it for me. Like, that's what does it for me.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
You hear that? That's Mike, sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. That's because Mike was smart this time. He took ZQL Ultra to fall asleep fast, stay asleep longer, and get the deeply restorative sleep he needs. So now he wakes up refreshed and ready to conquer Mondays.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Ultra. Not for colds, just for sleep. Really great sleep. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right
now. Back to me, back to Ed Sanders, and back to you if you want to get in the convo. Hop in the comments in the chat at KBLA 1580 on YouTube, or you can always call at 800-920-1580. We would love to hear from you. So they have done it. The governor, well, we'll see, because we still have, the voters have to sign off on this, but Governor Newsom and state lawmakers have got these new maps. They yesterday approved the plan to elect more Democrats by drawing those districts over again, which the plan that they have put forth will completely neutralize what Texas has done. Texas has created 5 new Republican seats. Our California bill would create, there are 2 bills that he signed actually, would create 5 new Democratic seats in California. And not only that, will make it easier for some Dems who are in shaky districts to hold on to their seats. So the arms race for gerrymandering, the maps race is on.
Yeah. It our conversation, my point the last time we were talking about it is that it's a slippery slope, and Texas, now California, and play this out down the road. Let's say 5 more states jump on. There are only a handful of states that can generate Democratic Party seats. There are far more sort of seats that there are states that have the power right now to create more Republican seats. So if this arms race escalates, it's all for moot, right? But California has stepped into the fray. The idea is going to come before the voters, and we'll see. I remember a couple days ago, I saw the press conference where the congressional leaders and state leaders were all together, and really appreciated Congressmember Kamlager Dove's comments. This point in time with Trump and this administration does call for action. I sound the alarm that this particular action could lead to more catastrophe for us down the road.
You say that because they have more, the math is in their favor. Is that why you say that?
I say that, and I say the other side of it, which is, this is about party politics, and I'm less a party person, right? I'm an African American who votes with the Democratic Party. I don't know that I'm an African American Democrat, right? And there's a distinction. When you start drawing maps for party, you lose sight of why people vote with the party. And if you don't fix the party turnout problem, it it doesn't matter. Meaning, if you don't talk to people about the issues that matter most to them and bring them to the polls, it doesn't matter how you draw the maps, right? And that was the point that I was making last time, is the party's got to find its voice.
Yeah,
Once it finds
okay.
its voice, it'll win.
I got you. I agree with you. They need to stop being so milquetoast and get with a progressive agenda. But the point is, right now, if we let Texas get 5 seats, Republican seats off right now, unanswered, the Republicans have a semi-permanent hold on the House at a time when the president obviously has the executive branch, the Supreme Court, most of the lower courts, and the Senate. So basically we're talking about no check on his power whatsoever for the indefinite future.
Yeah, but listen, the midterm elections are always swing against the party in power, right?
Yeah, unless the party in power cheats, which is what they're doing and what they're telling us they're going to do. They're letting us know we're cheating. And so we go, what? Well, the party in power always loses, but now they're cheating.
Yeah, they're cheating because they should be getting steamrolled. And
Yeah.
the point is that this administration has been so egregious in everything, right? Like from enriching billionaires to cutting, poor people off health care, that, man, if you can't run and win by 50 seats in the House, and you need, you know what I mean? Like this is like tailor made for the Democratic Party to win by a landslide. They should take the House back easily. And whether or not they took 5 seats out of Texas or not, the point is that the campaign messaging with what's happened over the first, we're not even 1 year in with this guy, it should be enough to win back the House and probably the Senate. The Senate is always a little different. But that's the point. Like
the Senate is really problematic, is what you mean.
Yeah.
Because the way they have it carved up is just not fair.
Right.
But
which was the other point I made last time. If we're going to do something like this, fix the Senate maps. Fix the Senate issue, not the House.
Well, yeah, but we don't have the control to do that, right, at the moment. And so I hear what you're saying. It could be catastrophic in some ways. I feel the voters are going to back up the governor, partly because he's just, stepping out and fulfilling a role, and maybe he's histrionic about it, but Democrats want to see somebody fight, and he's fighting. And I think his, Governor Gavin Troll Newsom is very effective with voters young and old. We want to see someone taking it to Republicans and getting their panties in a bunch, and that's exactly what his social media stuff is doing.
Yeah, agreed. I look, Gavin is quickly becoming the foil to Donald Trump nationwide, right?
Right.
We saw him take the trip to South Carolina. He's been the most eloquent critic of the president, and he's been, and quite frankly, he's been just the most eloquent voice of the party for several years now. And, I think a lot of the hesitation is that he is the governor of California and what that looks like in a run against Donald Trump. Had he been, the Pennsylvania or somewhere like that, he would be the clear-cut favorite to win the presidency. But Gavin is sharp, and Gavin is doing exactly what this country needs. And you just wish there were more Gavins out there. It's surprising that so singular.
Well, some progressives still don't trust him because he seems most focused on being president. And to some extent, we've seen him tack right. We've seen him kind of blow with the opportunities. But he's seizing the moment right now in a way that's really effective, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And again, who else in the country is doing this? That's the party problem, is that the bench is not deep, right? Like there aren't other names.
I think the bench is deep, but I think the corporate wing of the party throws them bows and get rid of the progressives who are energized More on that when we come forward. Ed Sanders and Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. California Democrats are moving forward with redistricting after Governor Newsom signed a plan that could net 5 House seats.
They fired the first shot, Texas. We wouldn't be here had Texas not done what they just did. Donald Trump didn't do what he just did.
Voters will decide in a November special election, countering a similar GOP push in Texas. Harvard is ordering the removal of a Black Lives Matter sign from 2 biology professors' office windows. The sign, posted in 2020, violates campus display rules. Critics say the move reflects political pressure and undermines free speech. And Hernandez Govan, accused of arranging rapper Young Dolph's murder, has been found not guilty. The jury rejected claims he ordered the hit. Govan thanked jurors and said he's just happy to be free and ready to hug his son. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Every day, a child in poverty waits for a sponsor is another day of hopelessness. There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers tuned up for their very important series in San Diego this weekend with a 9-5 win at Colorado. 4 straight win for Clayton Kershaw. 7 players in the Dodgers lineup had at least 1 RBI. The Dodgers needed a dominant win to build some momentum for their 3-game series with the Padres. Game 1 is tonight. The Dodgers lead the Padres by only 1 game in the NL West Division. The Angels are at home tonight against the Chicago Cubs. The Rams and Chargers play their final preseason game on Saturday. The Rams are in Cleveland. They'll face Browns rookie quarterback Shadur Sanders. Sanders is not starting, but Browns coach Kevin Stefanski said Deion's son will see a lot of playing time. The Rams and Browns kick off at 10 a.m. Pacific time. The Chargers wrap up the preseason Saturday night against San Francisco at SoFi Stadium. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Y'all ready for Gillette's best shave? Try Gillette Labs with 5 ultra-thin blades, a built-in exfoliating bar, a precision trimmer on the back for sharp lineups. Gillette Labs delivers that smooth shave. Plus, and check this out, with 1 refill, you'll get up to 30 shaves. And on average, the blades last 50% longer than Gillette Fusion. Got something special coming up and you gotta look good? Check out Gillette Labs, the best a man could get. Gillette Labs also available in heated.
Chronic migraine is 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine before they start. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents on average 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ed Sanders is here. Ed Sanders, KBLA contributor and the president of ES Advisors. Ed, where we are now, it seems like California lawmakers on the Democratic Party side are very united behind this plan. It does have a sunset. It is contingent on Texas or another Republican state going through with theirs, but it looks like Texas will have final approval. It has to go through their Senate and be signed by their governor. That looks like that's going to happen. So if California voters approve this on November 4th, it's a go. How does that play out in your vision? Like, do you think this is going to create problems here in our state? Or, of course, Republicans are against it. I know what you're saying as far as the national picture. And I get what you're saying, that we should be winning by a landslide, so these 5 seats in Texas shouldn't matter. But they could. You know what I mean? They could, if we look at how close things have been and how traditions are falling. Yeah, the opposition party usually wins in the midterms, but nothing is usual right now.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think it's a good idea when we set voting up based on party. And I get that the Republicans are doing it, and this is a counter to that. And, all of it needs to be stopped. And it shouldn't be an escalation of, tit for tat. But it's got it.
But
where
it's
we
going.
Are right
so
now,
yeah.
We've got to stop. Yeah, we've got to stop what is the obvious threat to, and I'm going to speak from an African American, to our civil liberties, right? We've got a Supreme Court that is a super, majority for the conservative, right? And there were issues there. We should have had couple justices should have stepped down so that they could have been replaced. We don't have control of the Senate. We don't have control of the House. We don't have control of the presidency. There are all these different things that are impacting our way of life and our future for us. And, while we're fighting back here with this little tit for tat, what we're really doing is pushing and continuing the polarizing of the country. And the polarizing of the country is not good for us. Right?
We are not the ones polarizing this country. I mean, I know some of us do it, but we are not the main ones pushing. That polarization is coming from white supremacists, Ed, and our redistricting seats is not going to fix that.
No, you're right. But it gives the reaction to that is not the high road, and that's the whole point. The reaction to us redistricting does not bring middle of the road white people to the Democratic Party.
F them. The Democratic Party needs to super serve their base and activate the doggone people that brought you.
That's the point.
Dance with who brung you.
If
Don't make me cuss, Ed.
Is colored people again? No. But look, this is the conversation. If the polarization of this country is white people versus colored people, that's not the dynamic that we need politically.
I'm not saying it's white versus BIPOC people. I'm saying don't try to go get the little independent so-called soccer mama who's really a Republican. Stop kissing Republican butt and the so-called centrist white people and super serve your base. Turn out your doggone base. It's not just BIPOC people and black people and young people, but we're a big part of it. And guess what? The Democratic Party has been ignoring us and trying to cater to the Liz Cheney voter for a long time. And it doesn't work.
It doesn't work on the other side of that equation either. It works.
How do we know? We haven't seen it. We haven't seen it. We have not seen it. Look at how they're doing Mamdani in New York. He's winning by a mile, and all of the corporate Dems, the Hakeem Jeffrieses, won't touch him with a 10-foot pole. You would think they'd be trying to jump on the bandwagon. He's young, he's energizing, good looking, he's a good speaker, he's winning by a mile. Nope. They want to, they're seriously considering backing Cuomo, who's already a criminal. How does that not work? How does leaning into
New
the
York
progressive?
And we're in LA. Those are, we know New York and LA are have the ability to be progressive. That's not the case the rest of the country.
Well, we don't know that because we need to be running on the progressive policies, not and I agree with you. We should lean less into party and more into policies, but the progressive, energized, yes, BIPOC, yes, young wing of the party is who has the policies that other people like when they're not labeled, like universal health care, free college, things, loan forgiveness, things that people like when they're not labeled progressive or labeled Democratic. They like the policies.
Right. They like the notion of the policy. The specifics, the specifics always are the specifics of a policy. But yeah, you can throw out sort of the top lines.
Yes, that's what people run on, right? They run on top lines. They don't run on specifics mostly.
True. It still is that geography matters here. And, we're in Los Angeles. New York is another progressive base. And then once you come outside of those two states, which, have their delegations to Congress, only 2 senators for both of those states, you are hard pressed to run progressives to win across the Midwest, certainly in the Deep South, right? And so California and New York have always been outliers on that side of on that question. And my point on the whole thing is when you push people further apart by action, if you're forcing people that could be with you to choose and they choose to go against you because of the actions of this, it hurt us. If more people come to the party because we drew 5 states, then certainly, I have no problem coming back on the show and saying, hey, Dominique, I was wrong.
No, I think you're right that it doesn't draw people to the party, but not every move you do is meant to draw people to the party. The policies draw people to the party, the candidates, the energy, and the problems created by your opponents are what draw people to the party, not redistricting, but sometimes you got to fight.
We're talking about redistricting. Like, this is the national story. We're talking about redistricting. We're not going into, Missouri and St. Louis and standing out in front of the senior center that just got its budget cut and the 100, seniors that are in there relying on Medicare to finance them are being put out in the street. We're not doing that. We're talking about redistricting.
Well, we're talking about redistricting to keep Republicans from cheating and having what could be a permanent majority in the House of Representatives, which means the big, ugly bill that's doing all the things that you're talking about and more of its kind continue to be the deciders for those seniors. We're trying to stop the policies that created that.
Of that bill. That bill is an all-time winner for Democrats.
Agreed. Agreed. It's so unpopular.
It is the worst piece of legislation that ever hit this country.
Wow.
And we're not talking about the impact Right, it is.
Worst ever. That's saying a lot.
Well, let me go back. Thank you. I can think of a couple other things that were just as bad, but the pain that's inflicted by this bill, that's what we should be talking about, and we shouldn't ever stop talking about that. Redistricting, great, whatever, it's done, get past it. Talk about the pain of the bill now, and constantly, and it should be ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Whose grandmother got kicked off of Medicare? Show her, have her, talk about it. All of that. It matters. That's what matters. That's what brings people to the party, is that we have a voice and who we're fighting for. If we're just talking about, hey, I think if we draw this map, we'll win these seats. Everyone listening to KBLA just heard the ads over the break about, the attorneys and the little disclaimer at the end. Past performance doesn't predict future performance. It's the same here in politics. You could draw the maps. It doesn't predict how the vote is truly going to go.
I mean,
until you get out there and campaign on the message.
That's definitely true, and lucky for us, because Republicans may not be getting the results they think with this redistricting war either. I don't think, I think their lines don't always equal wins. That's a great point. And I don't know why we can't do both. We have to do this redistricting because, Dominique's granny lost her Medicare or Medicaid or whatever it is. I think you're right. We do need to be talking about the big, terrible bill. And I think we'll be talking about it more and more as the effects become more and more obvious. I mean, this thing is barely being implemented, right?
Yeah, true. To the point of everything that's happened, this administration hasn't even been in a year yet, and so the point of the implementation is still coming. But
Forensic accountant says we should keep hammering him on those Epstein files too. That's also a winner. Agreed. Me and Ed are both on the same page with that.
Agreed.
When they go low, we make sure you know. That's what Epstein is all about. 800-920-1580 if you want to weigh in. Ed Sanders and Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Imagine a world without heart disease and stroke, where every person has the chance to live a full and healthy life. Join us for a walk to save lives at the American Heart Association's Greater Los Angeles Heart and Stroke Walk, Saturday, September 20th at the Rose Bowl. Every step made and every dollar raised means more people learning CPR, more life-saving research, and more time with the ones we love. Sign up at heartwalkla.org. The LA Heart and Stroke Walk is sponsored by Optum, UCLA Health, Keck Medicine of USC, and Dignity Health.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
Wow, it's impossible to keep up with all of these stories, Ed. I had such a long list, and we're not going to get through them. Ed Sanders is with me. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and look who's on our phone, Ed Sanders. It's Molly Bell, straight out of Compton. Good morning, Molly Bell.
Morning, reparations in memory of our ancestors. Good morning to all, Ed Sanders.
Good morning, Molly Bell.
I've always looked up to you. Now I'm not disagreeing with you. Yeah, I am. Be for real, Molly Bell. Right now, the Republicans have been so wrong, so out of order. But they did what they did in Texas by getting those extra seats. They did that the legal right way. Can't we do it legally? Can't we do it the right way? So that they could see that we're not, I'd start to say ussies, but we're not that. And so I'm asking you, you could still stand up for them. Our vote needs to count. We need those representatives in the seats because we are going to vote for the Democrats, and we've got to win. We are in a war, and I don't think that we should use bow and arrows in a war where they're using machine guns. I think it's unfair, and I think that I wish that you would find another way to help us to get the votes that we need to fight against the ones that they're stealing, and they are stealing it, and they're trying to stop using paper so that they could even steal better. Is that a correct term, Dominique? Steal better? Steal worse.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think
that's all
it is.
I'm saying. Ed, you know I'm crazy about you, and I always enjoy when you come on. But today, I'm disagreeing with you, and I'm asking you to rethink it, or if you have a better way, share that with us, because we have got to win. All you prayer warriors out there, you know what you've got to do. Keep fasting and praying, because the struggle continues. Dominique, you hold his feet to the wire, even if you've got to get down and get Miles and everybody up there to help you. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, Molly Bell.
Molly. And listen, I love Molly, and I love what she's saying. It to me, when she says we, and we're sort of talking about those in the country that would lean to vote with the Democratic Party, we're making the assumption that that same we will continue to vote with the party. And that's what drawing the lines is sort of based on. It's based on just this assumption. And you just referenced something in New York where you've got a really strong candidate running for mayor, and the leadership of the party can't seem to get out of its own way to embrace this leader in Mondani, right? And that makes the whole conversation about redrawing these lines, less. It's not such a sure thing, right? That the party is going to drive the turnout to even win the seats. California, yeah, we'll be fine here. We will get those 5 seats. And I'm saying the same thing about the Republicans in Texas, that you're asking, Republicans to get up there and support that big, awful bill or whatever you want to call it, and expect that they're going to win. The question isn't necessarily the lines. The question is the message and what you're running on. And the more we hold party leaders to your point, Dominique, of putting forth the ideas that we want them to vote on, then the stronger this party will be. If this party has to run just based on lines, we're not going to win. We won't even take back the House. We don't care about the Democrat. I don't care about the Democratic Party. I care about African American interests. And where the Democratic Party doesn't, or walks away, or is half-hearted on African American interests, I'm half-hearted on the Democratic Party. And so, if the party wants to play games on lines, all right, whatever. But you better speak to our interest and our best future. And if you don't, I don't care about your lines. I want what's best for us.
Yeah, well, I think we know, though, that even though the Democratic Party may not deserve our vote all the time, and they don't automatically get our vote, we're not a monolith, blah, 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 still, the vast majority of black voters are in the Democratic Party. And when they do what they're doing in Texas, we know that the net result of that is loss of African American voting clout. It means that it takes, from one article I saw, 2 million black voters to add up to 1.5 million white voters, the way those lines are drawn. So what they're actually doing is disenfranchising us, making our vote cheaper. Yeah. And so whether you want to call it party or you want to look at it in terms of our black community, either way you slice it, we're losing in Texas and winning in Cali.
We're losing in Texas for sure. I don't know that we, as African Americans, are winning in California necessarily, but yeah, we are losing
by having more Democratic seats. You don't think we don't win with that equation, even though more of us by a landslide vote Democratic?
Will the new seats that are drawn here in California add another African American? I don't know that they do.
Nope, they don't. They add, from what I'm reading, they add another Latino seat, but which is also warranted when you look at the population of the state.
Right, agreed. I'm just saying it doesn't necessarily lend to another African American winning in an African American populated seat. So I can't say that we win per se. There may be more Democrats, but we've seen a lot of our issues get killed within party politics before even having to take on Republicans.
Oh yeah,
so
all the time.
I'm not there.
It's happening in real time with reparations.
I guess Texas, we are being disenfranchised, and you're right, and that needs to, we got to address that. But I'm not going to say that California benefits us per se. We could have potential allies. That's the best that I can say about that.
I saw that Paul's pointing out that the FBI raided John Bolton's house this morning, former national security advisor to Donald Trump, who's constantly on CNN talking smack about Donald Trump. The era of retribution and revenge is upon us. Say it's a national security investigation in the search of classified records. Clearly that's tit for tat, right? He's still mad about the Mar-a-Lago records, which were not a raid because they told him 100 times, give us back the records.
Yeah. I feel like we're living in a Star Wars movie, and the Empire is just,
A Star Wars movie is hilarious. Because the Empire strikes back all the time, 24/7. Well, Ed, it is a Freedman Friday. We will be talking reparations next hour, but I know there's I sent you a million articles I wanted to talk about. We won't get to any of those. So what would you like to spend the last minute on?
Well, I think, quick shout out to Carl Douglas and his win on the jury award for the I think the family that got hit by the rubber bullet fired by the sheriff deputy during the George Floyd protest. A significant payout, I think 3.5, if I'm remembering right.
Yep, that's right.
To the family, and I think like another 300 to the daughter or something like that. From an accountability standpoint, we always look at sheriff deputies and some of their renegade behavior. I do hate that the jury award comes out of the county budget. While we hope that there's accountability with the sheriff department, what we do know is that there's 3.5 less for some of the services that the county provides, and the county provides the safety net services. So, in some way, I hope we start to look at how we do these these judgments so that it's not taking away from services and not with a clear plan for accountability for the sheriffs.
So how about police and sheriffs stop killing people and grievously harming them? That would be one good way. Try to cut back on that. Great point. Selin Gluck and his daughter Carolyn Gluck were hit by supposedly less lethal while protesting, and actually after a protest, and they got a big win in court this week. Ed Sanders, thank you so much for stopping in on Fridays. It's always fun to talk to you.
Thanks, Dominic. Talk to you soon.
We've got news, traffic, and sports, and then it's time for Freedman Friday. We're talking reparations on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. California Democrats are moving forward with redistricting after Governor Newsom signed a plan that could net 5 House seats.
They fired the first shot, Texas. We wouldn't be here had Texas not done what they just did. Donald Trump didn't do what he just did.
Voters will decide in a November special election countering a similar